welcome back to Iron's Health Talk. We had a quick break, and today we are discussing a really important subject. This is how to say goodbye to our loved ones who passed away because of a serious infection called COVID-19. And we have our special guest, Dr. Feroz, who is here with us. We've been talking about for the first part of the show, all about cremation, and now we're going to discuss more into the burial of the body. And actually we've been talking about the different kinds of body bag we're using. You said in the UK they use kind of a single layer bag. Shall we go back to the topic and quickly go through it?
Sure. So with regards to the body bag, the requirement is the bog standard body bag. There isn't anything as a special body bags which is coated with antibacterial or anything like that. The only requirement is it should be leak proof.
It should be leak proof.
Yeah. So long as it's leak proof, the body would be put into the body bag and they will be stored in the mortuary.
I'm going to stop you quickly and ask a more practical question.
Yeah.
Can this kind of body bags be made in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan,
Absolutely.
India, countries like that,
Absolutely.
in a normal factory where they make plastic?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
So long
ahead,
as they are, so there should be certain thickness. Of course, shouldn't be really thin to tear off because it will defeat the purpose, and it should be leak proof. This is the only thing. It doesn't matter where it's made, how it's made, so long as it complies with those two standards.
So it shouldn't be leaking.
Yeah, from what I understood, yes. But however, certain countries, for example, Australia requires the body bags to be doubled or double layered, purely because they would like to exercise more precautions. But the important thing to notice is the purpose of the body bag is to contain the fluids which comes out of it, because fluids can contain the virus.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to introduce an imam from a mosque in called Finchley Masjid. He is the head of the Imams of Islamic Center, where they teach Islamic studies. And please welcome Imam Hamid on our show. Hello, Imam Hamid. Then we have small technical difficulty. We will get him back in a few seconds. Okay, let's go back. Oh yeah, he's back on the show. Imam Hamid, can you hear us?
Yes, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Oh, welcome to our show. And
Thank you very much
today, Imam Hamid, we are discussing about a special topic. This is all about COVID patients who passed away or who left us behind, and how we're going to do their last rites, right? I'm going to jump into a question straightforward, because we've been discussing about cremation, because it looked like scientifically it's one of the WHO guidelines. You could cremate or you could bury the body, but cremation seems to be easy for certain countries, and they promote cremation. What is the perspective on Islam? Is Muslim religion, does it allow cremation?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyid al-Mursaleen, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. It's important to note before I begin my answer, just to send out some condolences to all those who have been affected by the virus, and that our du'as and our prayers are with those who have passed away and with those who are currently struggling with the symptoms of the virus, and for those families who are struggling with loved ones that have been affected by it also. With regards to cremation in Islam, it is one of the rights of every Muslim that he has the necessary funerary rites that are given to him at his death. This includes that he is washed, shrouded, he is prayed over, and he is buried. And this is one of the rights that every Muslim has upon another. And this is considered what we call in Islamic law, in the Sharia, as fard al-kifaya, which basically means that it is absolutely incumbent and obligatory, and an obligation upon a Muslim to carry out this right. And if a group of Muslims from the Muslim Ummah is to carry out that right, then that right is fulfilled for all of the Muslims collectively. But if, however, that right is not carried out by the Muslims, then they are all together, collectively in sin for not fulfilling that right for the deceased. The Prophet ﷺ has spoken about the deceased with regards to harming a sort of a body once it's passed away, as the ill effects and the harms that are caused to a dead body are the same as the harms that are caused to a person who is alive. So he said with regards to a person breaking bones of a dead body, that breaking his bones in death is like breaking his bones in life. So the harm that we enact on a deceased person is very much equivalent to the harm that we enact on him if they were alive. We have to remember that there is
Can I ask a quick, short question for our public to understand? Is cremation allowed in Islam?
Yeah, so that's the path that I'm getting to, inshallah. What I want to establish first is that what is actually an obligation in Islam, which is to bury, and the rights that are related to that. Now, if that is the obligation in Islam, which is to bury, then the opposite of which includes cremation and the like is in reality not permissible, and there isn't a scope for it in the religion of Islam. One could argue, though, that there is nothing specific in the deen, whether it's in the Quran or in the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to prohibit cremation. So there's no ayah in the Quran where Allah says that cremation is haram, nor is there a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that says cremation is haram. But when we have an obligation that is already set out for us with regards to burial and with regards to funerary rites, that takes precedence over the need and the requirement for there being any textual evidence to show that cremation is.
Thank you. Can I clarify? Is it burial is preferred, but cremation, if it is necessary on scientific basis, it does not say it is haram or it is prohibited. Is that right?
Yes, you could say that we could put that into sort of more simplistic terms, in the sense that the burial is an obligation, and that is the first and foremost the right that we enact when a person passes away.
Whose obligation is to bury the body?
Yes, absolutely. Whether that be from the coronavirus or other than that, the first and foremost thing that we should consider is burial. If that is not the case, and if that is that we are unable to
Imam
do that,
Hamid, I'm just going to hold you online because we have a caller. I think he has an important question. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, sir. What's your name?
My name is Shafiqul Alam. I like to talk English. Is it okay?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's an English program.
Okay. I like to say that when all human beings die, I'm Muslim, when all human beings die, if they going heaven, they welcome by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Exactly. He gonna welcome to the person who arriving in the heaven. Doesn't matter who religion he is there. Doesn't matter, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go back to the show, Imam Hamid.
Yes. So what I was mentioning was that so if we can't end up burying the deceased body for whatever reason, then we have to have exhausted all of the alternatives that are there with regards to burial. So if we are not able to bury the body naturally in its normal state that we normally bury the body in, if we are not able to use the body bags that Dr. Feroz, mashallah, was speaking about, if we are not able to wait a certain period of time so that whatever ill effects that may transfer to the living from the deceased are safely overcome.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to stress on here. I think what you're explaining is, as Dr. Feroz has explained to us, there are 4 different categories on this infectivity of these diseases. He said the category 4, which is the most dangerous one, is kind of a bloodborne disease and like Ebola. I think probably infection like that might be favored for cremation than for a burial. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Even Ebola, so long as the body is packed properly, so because there's a special way of preparing the bodies in a coffin with zinc coating also, it could be buried. It doesn't have to be cremated. So if that is the case for category 4 infectivity, which is the highest category, category 3 could be easily buried. There is no scientific reason whatsoever those COVID-19 infected bodies have to
COVID-19 is the category
cremated.
3 infection.
Correct.
That can be buried
Easily.
so
long as it's in a body bag and the precautions were observed, in terms of people who moves the body, have got the PPEs and they're handled correctly, then it should be buried with no scientific reason not to.
Is Imam Hamid, are you still around with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I'm going to come back to you with the next question. Let's say now there are so many deaths happening around the world. Some places the state is arranging funerals for the people. If the state finds they can't finance so much on this body bag and these coffins and all these things, if the state prefers, or if the state says we can fund only for cremation, I don't know. It's a difficult question.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on it?
So if by sort of government imposition we have to cremate a body and there is no alternative that they are giving us, then we have a pretty difficult situation on our hands. But as long as there are alternatives, if the government doesn't want to fund or cannot fund a certain the burial rights and cremation is the only thing that they can fund, then alhamdulillah, our Muslim community is very affluent and we have funds all over the place with regards to burials and burial rights and so on and so forth, and funerary rights. And that could be tapped into, as well as sadaqat, to be channeled in order to fund this sort of thing. What I mean by that is the sort of burial rights. What really needs to happen though in this sort of situation is there needs to be a very, very clear communication between the Islamic institutions of various types in the UK and the British government, so that they are well aware of the duties and responsibilities that Muslims have towards each other, and the burial rights that are inclusive in that. Now, I want to just point to a very, very important document that has been written up by the British Board of Scholars and Imams, the BBSI, which is a very comprehensive document with regards to the funeral rights. And inshallah, this should be consulted when the need arises. And if the need arises,
Imam Hamid, it's very useful what you are explaining us. We have about a few more minutes left in our show. We're quickly going to hold you there. You are still in the show. We're going to quickly ask a few more questions from Dr. Feroz. It's all about the burials, and in burials there is a thing going on with this groundwater contamination with this COVID or infected burials. What is your explanation in short about this?
So the question was that is there a threat from these buried bodies of COVID-19 where the virus would escape and it will go into the water reserves and then infect the ecosystem? This was the question. But so the WHO, World Health Organization, has laid out clear guidance as to how these bodies should be buried. I think there's about 30-meter distance from any water reserves. Also, I couldn't just go through that. We don't have the time for the whole conditions. But there are two things to kind of understand. So number one is the viability of the virus. If it comes out of the body, how long would it live? So that has to determine how long would it stay. The second thing is if these body bags, the bodies are inside the body bag and it's sealed and it's leak proof, what are the chances of it leaking? So that's why I said the handling is very important. So long as the bodies are handled properly and buried properly, and you must have kind of known already, normally plastic can stay before disintegration from somewhere like 10 years to 1,000 years.
Yeah, my next
And that
question
can
is,
be- yeah.
will the body inside will decay, or will,
Of course.
will it be preserved in the plastic bag for
No,
years and
as
years?
soon as the body dies, the decaying process starts straight away,
So
almost straight,
even
because we got germs in the bowels, and they got anaerobes in the body. They'll start to decay as soon as a person dies.
Yeah.
And then the decay will continue, but of course it will be significantly slower than when it's in raw soil. But it will not escape.
Dr. Feroz and Imam Hamid, it's really interesting talk, but we are running out of time. We have only a few more seconds left. What I'm going to do, we're going to wrap up the show soon. And thank you guys. And it was really interesting. And it was one of the best shows. And please thank Dr. Feroz and Imam Hamid. And we will see you soon on a similar program next time. Until then, we're going to wrap up this show. And please be tuned next time. I'll see you in a similar program. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And take care.
Thank you.